Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, I was watching The Twilight Zone last night, and apparently I didn't wake up because we're in the Twilight Zone now. Um, Apparently, the Supreme Court in America drafted back in February a majority opinion, which is apparently what they do before changing a law. Now, I can't say the word that's affected by this, so I'm just going to say abolition. So they are going to change the abolition laws. Rovy Wade, because I always thought that was one word. I didn't actually understand it was Roe and then V for versus and then Wade. I just thought it was Rovy Wade. So I'm just going to say Rovy Wade because it's one word. Hopefully that won't get struck. But I have to use just like just that's just unfortunately how it is on YouTube. The algorithm will find certain words and make sure your video is buried. No one ever sees it. So yeah, so the abolition laws are basically being dumped. And I'm really kind of shocked by this. I mean, we all know this was the plan long term, and that's why people like Amy Coney Barrett and whatever and that were brought on to the Supreme Court. And Trump managed to get 3 people on there. But I thought that nice black lady that Biden got on would kind of counter that long enough to keep this from happening. But apparently they want to get this law in and out of the way before she gets in, I'm guessing, because they started doing this. And this was leaked, so has not been announced. It would be announced in June or July, apparently. But maybe the fact it's been leaked at this point, they might be able to do something about it. But it's just really horrifying. All the things that are happening in America now, we've got the Florida gay bans, where they're basically banning any children or teachers or allies or parents or anyone discussing homosexuality in school. And basically anyone who tries to discuss homosexuality or acknowledge homosexuality is being called a pet groomer. Now, obviously, I can't use the P word or the G word, so I'm just going to use pet groomer instead. So you know what I'm talking about. So if you're gay or you are sympathetic to gays, you will be called a pet groomer and you'll be vilified. And if you tried in a school to actually talk about homosexuality, whether to educate students or to help students who are struggling with it themselves, you're taking the risk of being liable to being sued by a parent who decides, well, I think that's not age appropriate for my child, so I'm going to sue you and take your job and bankrupt the school district. So no one's going to say anything because they're too scared, and that's what the laws are about. Just like the earlier abolition laws about where you could basically sue anyone who had any involvement in an abolition taking place. So you could sue the person who drove the woman to the doctor's surgery, or you could sue the banker who gave her the loan or something to pay for the abolition or whatever. Just any person involved could be attacked financially and legally. So the idea was to scare people out of helping to make it harder. So there are all these other laws that are being put into place in different states. And I mean, the same people who are coming after women are coming after gays, and they're coming after people of colour. Now, Black Lives Matter is they got a lot of traction after George Floyd. I don't know if they're going to keep ahead or if they're going to get pulled back as well. But the gays are being pulled back, women are being pulled back. It's just really terrifying to think that in a few years America, it's barely a democracy now. It's like a pretend democracy where half the country doesn't believe certain things happened and the other half does. The laws actually uphold that for now, but certain people, if they get in power again, will change those laws, and then just fictional, scenarios can, it's just, if certain people get back in, they will change the laws so they never get back out, and it's just going to be a dictatorship, and it's just scary. I never thought this could happen in America. I never thought they could go backwards. And why do I care? I'm a gay man in Australia. I don't have a vajayjay. I don't have to worry about abolition laws. Their gay laws don't affect mine, but it all trickles down. All the rights that were fought for in America, we eventually got here because people saw what they did and basically carried the work on for the people locally. but that can go in reverse. People who see how they managed to undo all those laws in America can work at doing that here and probably succeed. No one's wanting to marry me, but I like the fact that I have a choice, but that might be gone. All these things can be taken away. We think these things can't be taken away, but they can. So I'm scared for myself in the future. I'm scared for women. I'm scared for people of colour. I'm scared of anyone that isn't a rich white male, because those are the people who are in charge, in control. The patriarchy is so terrified of losing the grip that they are just squeezing so hard. And it's just, I need to make a video. I need some YouTube therapy about this, because it's upsetting, it's stressing, it's I'm afraid for my future. I'm afraid for everyone's future. I'm afraid for how America falling apart as it is could affect the rest of the world. Not just socially and legally, but financially as well, and just everything. And I really was hoping that this would not happen. That Coney Barrett lady lied. Let's be real. She said, I have no intention of overturning that. First thing they did. First thing they were doing, obviously, was trying to get this done. So that was just a big lie. And I'm like, you believe whatever you want, but don't expect other people to live by your beliefs. The whole point is to separate church and state, to separate the laws from religion. So we all have one law we all live by, and everyone has their own religion, so they can do whatever they want, personally, privately, and it doesn't affect anyone else. You have your own freedom, and that doesn't impinge on other people. The idea of one group saying, we're going to rule using our religion for the rest of the country and the rest of the world, and everyone else, their religion doesn't matter, what's happening with them doesn't matter, what they want, their choices, their freedom, that doesn't matter. And it's happening. We seem to be going in the right direction for so long, for so many decades, so consistently. We took it for granted. We didn't think it could go backwards. We didn't think it could change. I grew up with so many beliefs that I'm realizing now were absolutely just vulnerable to being lost and changed and destroyed. And I'm like, wow, I believed in the precedent, I guess, that we'd established this and that's just what it was, and you couldn't go back and undo it. Well, apparently you can. It's terrifying. I wish I was a straight man, because I don't want to deal with what's going to come in the next 5, 10, 15 years. If this trend culturally happens, not just in America, it happens, because it's happening in Australia. We're having things be challenged in that. We had our Prime Minister was trying to establish a law that, of course, gave religion power over the rest of the country and would mean they could, fire anyone who wasn't, religious, or anyone who was gay, who basically, giving them power. And it failed, but they tried, and they're just going to keep trying. So it's just really terrifying, because I'm getting older, and I am going to need some security in the next couple of decades, and after that I'm going to need somewhere to retire, and I'm going to need like an old person's home, and what if by that point, gays aren't welcome? What would I do? Like, where am I going to go as an old gay man if all these things keep winding back and winding back? I don't feel like my future is secure anymore. I'm afraid of what is coming. This is just the start, and we're either going to snap it back because we see where it's going, or it's just going to keep going. And the Democrats in America, they are just asleep at the wheel because it doesn't affect them. I think on some level they do care about minorities, but they're still, for the most part, not minorities, so they don't actually have to really do anything. Whereas the Republicans, they are so determined, and they are so much better at what they do, which is horrifying. Because it's just, I could talk for another hour about this just to make myself feel better. But I'm not going to, because I'm nearly at 10 minutes. I'm going to stop. But I'm just shocked that this happened. Although technically it hasn't happened yet. They haven't changed anything, but clearly they're intending to, and they've taken the motions to, and it's just the first step. And there's just so many issues. Half the country doesn't believe in the law and reality in America anymore, because half the country was raised on reality TV and religion and lies, and reality and truth doesn't mean anything to them. So America is in such a dangerous position. And of course, the rest of the world is going to follow. It's just really scary and depressing, and just I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Hi. I don't know. I don't know what to think.